Hello, I'm Carl at Trout Fly Fishing. Today we're going to tie an old school wet fly called the Montreal. It was created by Peter Cowen in the mid-1800s, and Cowen immigrated from Scotland to Canada in the 1830s. It's said to have been a very popular wet fly and was tied commercially by the 1850s in both Canada and the United States. The recipe for this fly comes from Ray Bergman's book Trout, and it can be tied in sizes as big as a 6 all the way down to a 14. So here's the fly in the vise. So the hook we're using today is a Mustad S60. This is their nymph sprout bend hook. Nice wide gap, heavy hook. And initially the thread we're going to use is going to be Beavis 8/0 in white. That's because we're going to use a colored floss body, and if you use a dark thread, once the floss gets wet, it tends to change color and become darker than it really is. So we'll get this tie started about an eye length and a half behind the hook eye and wrap back to the bend. This fly has a tag. We're going to use some Mylar Tinsel in extra small, and the color is gold silver. And we're going to tie this in with the silver side facing us. So when we actually wrap the tag, it'll flip over to the gold side, which is what we want. There we go. So 5 turns down the hook. And then back up. Cut off our excess. And the tail of this fly is going to be some crimson colored hackle. This is just some hairline strung hackle. We'll pull some fibers out perpendicular to the stem to even out the tips and just tear it off. I'm going to measure these out against the hook shank. We want these to be about a hook shank in length. I'm going to tie these in right on top. Wrap forward to our initial tie-in point. Cut off our excess. Can't color in some of that red a little bit with this white thread. Get the body nice and even. Fly also has a rib, and we're going to use that same tinsel material. And we're going to tie it in on the far side of the hook this time. Wrap all the way back to the tail. And then back forward, where we'll tie in our body, which is going to be some Danville's 4-strand floss in the color wine. And wrap all the way back to the base of the tail. Back forward again. And we'll start wrapping this floss forward. Nice even overlapping turns. And tie it off. Cut off our excess. And we'll wrap our rib next. Nice even turns. Keep it tight, the combination of the floss and this Tinsel is really slippery stuff. In my experience fishing this fly, the tinsel and the floss are really slippery, and first fish the tinsel gets all knocked out of shape. So if you add just a touch of super glue across the back, or Zap-A-Gap, give that a second to set in, that'll lock everything in place. The fly will look pretty a lot longer. And next we're going to tie in the throat of the fly, and that's going to be some more Hackle feather in the color Claret, which kind of matches the wine-colored body. And we want these to go back somewhere between the hook point and the back of the hook. I tie this in right at the bottom. That looks good. Make sure our glue is dry up there. All right, at this point we're going to change thread. We're going to go with some UTC 70 denier in black. And the last thing I'm going to tie in is our wing. These are some turkey feathers. You're going to need a left and a right for this. And the width should be about a hook depth in width. So what I do is I take the hook that I'm using, in this case it's a number 8, and pierce the feather. That establishes my width for me. And the easiest way that I've found to match these up is to use my bodkin. I just lay them on a piece of foam and pierce one, lay that right on top of the other so that the tips line up. There. Now these are going to go on with a pinch wrap. And we want the wing to be somewhere between halfway down the tail and no longer than the tail. So we'll try it right there. Well, that looks really good. I'm happy with that. Wrap forward. These have a fairly pronounced head, these old flies. Now we'll just use our thread to build up a nice head. Get our thread to flatten out a little bit for us, so it lays down nice and doesn't look bumpy. And take out our whip finish tool. Make 4 or 5 turn whip finish. Seat our knot. Cut our thread. A little head cement. And there we have our completed fly. Feel free to leave comments at the bottom of the page. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to see all the current content here at Trout and Fly Fishing. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you again next time.